All right. Brian Kelly's going to LSU. I said yesterday he just wants to play Nick Saban one time and Dabo Swinney and say, "Oh, I've got the same players you do." I think it's the right move. I'm not bothered by it. I like mobility for my athletes, my students, my coaches. What do you make of it?
Yeah, no, it's great for college football. The championship and the playoff doesn't matter, but as long as Brian Kelly and his buddies can make tens of millions of dollars, that's what the sport's about, right? Like, so a couple things. First of all is this. I hope anyone and everyone, including the great broadcaster I'm talking to right now agrees that if today Aiden Hutchinson says, you know what, I'm top 5 pick, I don't need to play any more college football, and he takes Ajabo and Hill with him, the other first-rounders from Michigan, and they skip out on the Big Ten championship game in the playoff, we got no problem with it, right? It's totally fine. The championship and the playoff does not matter. It's about what's best for every individual. So they can skate right now, and we're good with it, right? I want to make sure. The other question I would have is
I'm not right with that.
Because I agree with you. This is
I am not right with that.
Why are you not okay with that?
Because college athletes don't have the leverage. I mean, let's be honest about this. Bryce Young's making a bunch of money in the NIL. Almost nobody else is. He's a star quarterback for Alabama. So coaches, my bosses, my executives, they get pensions, I don't. They get outs, I don't. They fly on the jets, I don't. I, as a quote unquote on air, let's say I'm an athlete, there are certain things I get, but my mobility isn't the same as my boss's mobility, the Murdoch family's mobility.
No, agreed.
Right. So players,
and no one's going to give Aiden Hutchinson $100 million.
But he doesn't.
Nobody's going to give him the $100 million.
But what I'm saying is,
skip out on the championship game.
But that's different. Michigan can win the national championship. Notre Dame can't. Michigan is absolutely capable of winning the national championship this year. In fact, I think they're the best bet on the board as a dark horse because they're going to thump Iowa, and then they're going to thump Cincinnati, and I think Oklahoma State may upset Georgia. Brian Kelly knows this team got crushed at home by Cincinnati. They're not a national championship team.
Okay. Well, they might be in the playoff in 96 hours or 120 hours.
No.
However, so then the standard is Harbaugh couldn't have done it. If Harbaugh would have just taken the LSU
that's
job,
right.
He's not allowed.
No, he's allowed. There's no question he's allowed. But Harbaugh knows there are certain things you and I know about us, our show, our family. Harbaugh knows I can go. I just crushed Ohio State. I can beat Alabama. I can crush Cincinnati. I can beat Georgia. Brian Kelly's telling you we couldn't compete with Cincinnati at home. We got thumped. I'm not leaving a natty. I'm not. It's the difference It's the difference between leaving the Liberty Bowl and leaving the Rose Bowl if it's part of the playoff group. And I'm the only media person that I don't think players are equal to 59-year-old coaches that run entire ecosystems. I don't see them as equal. I don't.
Yeah, I don't see them as equal either. I see the players as far more important because they're who we're actually trying to go see play. But I can fix this, by the way, just quickly here, because we do agree the players matter somewhat.
Yes.
And we do agree that a lot of college recruiting is going into the houses of 16-year-olds.
Yeah.
And coach movement is typically bad for players, for the families, for players, for their futures. So here's the fix. You can hire any coach you want. Coaching contracts don't matter, all that stuff. But that coach cannot start his new job until the year is up at his previous job. And the reason I think that would fix things is this. Coaches would be fired a hell of a lot less often. If USC or LSU or whomever knew, well, we can fire our coach, but we are going to take it on the chin this recruiting cycle. Maybe certain places would be more patient with coaches. Maybe then players would have to transfer less often. Maybe there wouldn't be this constant turnover for some of these universities and buyouts and all this nonsense. But I'm just, call me old-fashioned. I care about the student athletes. I understand it's very important that Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley and everybody gets private jet usage and houses and all that. That's what the sport's about. I'm just a simple man that enjoys watching the 20-year-olds play football.
I disagree completely on everything. Now, I will say is that I don't disagree with your premise. I don't think legally you could pull it off, but I don't disagree with your premise. But the NCAA screwed everything up by creating an early signing period, which is ridiculous because coaches now have no life. I mean, I agree with your premise. If LSU didn't have to battle for 10 players in the next week with Alabama, and it's easy to say, well, don't worry. Oh, so they go to Alabama and Georgia and beat you for the next 3 years and you get fired because, it matters. So we agree. So I want to take a break and come back because I got stuff to talk about. How about that? How about 2 segments for Nick Wright?
Let's do it.
He's got the new hairstyle. I feel now with his hip new hairstyle that he's such an artist now. I can go after him. You've heard me talk about my favorite shoe brand, Wolf and Shepherd. And when I say favorite, I'm not kidding. Wearing it today proudly with socks, though. Joy, I wore socks today. I really decided to step up and be. Yesterday, I went no socks. Today, I was a grown-up. Well, Anne's out of town, so my house is a mess.
This is Wild Wednesday?
No, I mean, I drink without coasters now. Dogs are all over the house.
Leave the cabinet doors open.
The whole house. The microwave's probably going right now in the house. Something's on fire. Wolf and Shepherd, shoes designed for comfort and performance, wherever your field may be. Let's face it, guys, dress shoes stink. They're stiff, they're clunky. Nobody looks forward to putting them on. So Wolf and Shepherd changed the industry. Makes dress shoes literally as comfortable and agile as sneakers. Guess what? They have a catalog. It's beautiful, filled with shoes for all your needs. Work from home, casual dress, going out. Just want to look and feel great. Do me a favor, go to wolfandshepherd.com today. wolfandshepherd.com for some amazingly comfortable shoes. Bruce Feldman topping next hour. We got so much stuff going on right now. I tell you, they say October's the best sports month. I'm going to go with November. I'm going to go with this week. Between all the great Thanksgiving football, college was better than pro, and now you got all these coaching moves. Let's go back to Nick Wright. We never argue, but today I'm feisty. All right, I don't know if we'll argue about this because I watched Phoenix play, and I've watched Phoenix play about 3 times this year, and I watched them last night. They are deep, and they are young, and they're athletic, and they have a rim defender, and they have a legend at point guard, and they're great in the clutch, 9-1 in clutch situations. I mean, I don't think I'm overstating it here, and they're not going away because Monty Williams, it feels like a perfect coach for these young people. He's a mentor. He's a teacher. I mean, this is the best team in basketball, right? Like, we can acknowledge that today, and it may be the best team in basketball.
You nailed this one.
For 5-6 years, right?
Yeah, I won't go 5 years. I won't go that far. You know, as usual, you're so close to a perfect take, and then you add a little Colin Cowherd pixie dust to it, and now it's a 5-year dynasty. But what is true is it is such a well-constructed roster. You have Chris Paul, the modern-day Isaiah Thomas, making sure everyone gets the touches they need early, but then he can take over late. You have a great volume scorer in Devin Booker. You have 2 exceptional, what I would call dirty work guys, Ayton rim protection rebounding. Mikal Bridges put Steph Curry in the torture chamber yesterday. Steph didn't go 4 for 21 by accident. It was because of what Mikal Bridges, who is a great perimeter defender, not a good perimeter defender, a great perimeter defender, did. So they have built the roster really well. Then you have the other guys you mentioned, Jay Crowder and such, to fill it out. And I do think it warrants mentioning, Colin, that the only reason they are not the defending champs is because a guy who is going to go down as one of the 15 greatest players ever had one of the greatest 4-game stretches in the history of the sport. And even in the midst of that stretch, those were close games. It took a transcendent Giannis block to win one of those games, a transcendent Giannis alley-oop to win the next one, and then a 50-point performance in a closeout game to win Game 6. So they were this close to winning the title last year. This year they're better. At this moment, they are the absolute best team in basketball. I totally agree.
By the way, somebody told me this years ago, somebody in personnel, he said, to win a championship in any sport, you generally need 6 or 7 players in their prime. And Phoenix has that. Now, Chris Paul's not in his prime. Jay Crowder's not. But they got about 5 guys either in it or moving into it. And that's what Milwaukee, by the way, Chris Middleton, Giannis, they're in their prime. Yep. Lakers have not a single player on their roster in their prime. They're old. They're the opposite of Phoenix. They're hard to watch. Can we solve this? Is it I don't think it's solvable. They don't shoot a 3 and they can't defend it. Is it solvable?
Well, it's very interesting what you just said there because it's very revelatory. Because they do have a player who is supposed to be in the absolute apex of his prime. His name's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis was the second youngest guy on that all-75 list. Only Giannis was younger. And so what they are supposed to have is a perennial MVP candidate in his prime to go along with LeBron James, who obviously has aged out of his prime, but is also only 13 months removed from winning a finals MVP. So that's the plan. The problem is, the highlights we're showing right now is not what Anthony Davis has been doing this year. He has been living out on the perimeter, and this year, statistically, this is not an exaggeration, he has been the league's worst jump shooter. You have killed Russ for a decade for being a 30% three-point shooter.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis this year is 19%. Over the last 2 years is 24%. So the Lakers' path is very clear and obvious. Get the Anthony Davis that existed his first year with the Lakers, that there's no reason that it should have left, should have gone anywhere. Hope and pray LeBron's got one more great run in him and see what you can harness out of Russ. It's not a clear path, but it exists. But it does not exist if Anthony Davis keeps playing. And I love AD, and he's a great defensive player. But he's playing the style he played when he was a 6'2" point guard in Chicago instead of a 6'11" freak in the NBA. He's got to fix that.
I'm not even going to ask you the next question because I don't want to disagree anymore. We disagreed. We have really good NBA takes, and it's I want you to go along your way and be amazing and have a great day because I don't like when, as your mentor, we argue, but it was good and feisty, and I really enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it.
Listen, I don't like it either. No one likes to embarrass their mentor on national television in front of hundreds of thousands of people. It's not fun for any of us, but sometimes it has to be done. I'll talk to you later, Colin.
Nick Wright. All right, good stuff. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.